Yeah, it's so true. And, it seems like our information and our technology is moving us even into more of avatar space than we need to. I'm curious. You talk about your convictions and why you how you think and how you believe. Like, what got you to this point? Like, what sets you apart from maybe the folks you're trying to reach with an article like this? That they need to stop communicating with caricatures of each other.
Hmm.
I'm sure you're trying to potentially reach as many of those people as you can. But then
Yeah.
what sets you apart from those type of people? How did you get out of maybe their echo chambers of the bubbles that maybe they're in, to think this way in the first place?
Well, I mean, I guess I've just been wrong so many times in my life that, like, I've just, I carry around all this kind of guilt of every time I've made a terrible mistake and either upset somebody or hurt them or, all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm kind of always checking myself because I'm trying my best to navigate the world in a way where I'm doing good and being good as far as I possibly can. So that's my motivation, right? And I just don't get any satisfaction out of making people feel bad or being vicious or anything like that. So it's just not my temperament. I just don't have that in me. So a lot of it
Hmm.
is probably just my nature. It's just I'm just not like that. I was never the kid who wanted to pick fights. I was never that. I definitely I definitely was a little asshole. Um, I would definitely was mean to people and stuff like that. When I was a
Yeah.
kid, but at least from my perspective, and for whatever reason, I picked up on it. It was always coming from a place of fear. I was always worried. It was always because I was insecure. And so if I was mocking somebody, that meant that I was at least above them. And so but I
Hmm.
noticed that about myself, and then I started to feel terrible about it. And so all this kind of introspection has led me to this point. So there's that on the personal side, but also just on the social kind of scaled out side. This stuff really matters. It really, really matters if we can't communicate with each other. Terrible things happen when we can't communicate with each other, when we misunderstand one another's motives and we assume the worst possible motives and kind of project those things onto people. Terrible things happen, and terrible things are happening and have happened as a direct result of our inability to see the other side, to connect with the humanity of the people with whom we disagree, and just have a more compassionate kind of outlook instead of this kind of team sports sort of mentality that's gone totally haywire, right? Where yeah, it's fine to be like, oh, Boston sucks and New York is the best, blah blah blah. Yankees versus Red Sox, like in that context, it's fun and it's funny to make jokes and kind of do the whole thing. But there are times where it spills over onto the street and it's a literal fist fight and people get arrested and people get sent to the hospital, stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
insane, right? But we're doing kind of the same thing here, and it's so much more dire and it's so much more consequential because the ideas that we're engaging with and about are foundational things about our society. We're talking about race, we're talking about education, we're talking about you know America's founding, we're talking about law, we're talking about all these things, right? It's difficult, and I just, for whatever reason, I'm extremely aware of the fact that we have to figure out how to live together, that all of this crumbles if we don't figure this out. So that's my motivation, really. The thing that's propelling me is just, mom, dad, you have to stop fighting. If you don't stop fighting, the house is going to come down.